Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable members of this August Assembly, I rise to move the report of the Select Committee, the report entitled Parliamentary 𝒘𝒄𝒄𝒏 report on the acute kidney injury among children to be adopted by this August Assembly. Honorable Speaker, before going to the body of the report, I just wish to acknowledge the honorable members of the Select Committee of Health, 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒍, and refugees and disaster, which is to express proper appreciation for all the stakeholders for their cooperation and understanding during the inquiry, especially the Honorable Minister of Health and Team, Medicine Control Agency, and Pharmacy Council, Gambia. The Select Committee wishes to thank the August Assembly for the mandate given to us to conduct such an inquiry of this magnitude. The timely support and prompt facilitation of the office of the clerk and staff of the National Assembly Service is deeply acknowledged and commended. Moving on, members of the Select Committee constituted the following: Honorable Ahmad Kamara, Chairperson; Honorable 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒏, Vice Chairperson; Honorable 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒏, member; 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 and Honorable 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒏, member. The Select Committee was also privileged to have subject matter specialists in the person of Dr. Yahya Mohammed Ba and Mr. Alpha Jallo and Mrs. Aminata Ella. The support staff that guided the committee through this were Mrs. 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒏, Secretary, most Senior Secretary, and 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒏. Introduction and background. The National Assembly has general constitutional power to perform oversight of government operations and activities. Section 109 of the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia 1997 empowers the National Assembly to establish select committees with the general mandate to inquire into the activities or administration of ministries or departments of the government. Select committees may also investigate or inquire into any matter of public importance. The Select Committee on Health, Disaster and Humanitarian Relief, here referred to as the Select Committee, was established by a resolution of the National Assembly in the 6th legislature. The Select Committee has a general mandate to examine such matters within its limits, and it may determine appropriate or refer to it by the Assembly. Both the Constitution and the Standing Orders are observed. Each Select Committee, in the performance of its functions or the powers, rights, and privileges as are vested in the High Court, trial in respect of A, enforcing the attendance of witnesses and examining them on oath, affirmation or otherwise; B, compelling the production of documents; and C, the issue of a commission or request to examine witnesses abroad. Equally, Standing Order 100 subclause 6 subclause B gives the Select Committee the power to hear and receive evidence relevant to the business of the Select Committee. A resolution of the National Assembly dated 26th of October 2022 mandated the Select Committee to conduct a full-scale parliamentary inquiry into the matter of the acute kidney injury and related deaths with a view of unearthing the truth and circumstances surrounding this unfortunate incident, and to advise the Assembly accordingly. 6. The objectives. The Select Committee, cognizant of its constitutional and parliamentary mandate by resolution of the Assembly, initiated a parliamentary inquiry into the matter of the AKI with a view of unearthing the truths and circumstances surrounding the unfortunate incident, and to advise the Assembly accordingly. 6. The inquiry of the Select Committee is to establish the cause or causes and the impact of the AKI that will at least 7 children in Ghana. The inquiry establishes the root cause of the reported death of at least 7 children, the effects of the contaminated medical syrups linked to the death, the impact of access to primary health care services on emergency cases, especially for children, the probability of the suspected importer and pharmacy linked to the contaminated drugs. E, the impact that availability and access to medical drugs, especially for children, has on emergency health services. F, the effect of the prevailing legislation, the Pharmacy Council, Medicine Control Agency, and the pharmacy licensing medical regime of the country. G, to consider proposal for a review of the legal and regulatory regime governing the pharmacy, medical drugs importation and store and licensing administration The effectiveness of the foreign measures being undertaken by the Ministry of Health to address the AKI cases and contaminated medical drugs. J. To draw on other international best practice and protocols, possible strategies, initiatives, actions that the Ministry of Health will consider addressing the administration and impact of medical importation and any other related matter. The methodology we use as far as this inquiry was concerned. The Select Committee conducted the inquiry before internal committee meetings, public sessions with key ministries, departments, agencies, councils, and associations and non-state stakeholders. And then last but not least, we conducted site visits. The activities we conducted first were internal committee meetings. The Select Committee the conduct of its work. It developed terms of reference that it used as a guide during the meetings with stakeholders. During the first meeting, the Select Committee identified the following stakeholders: A. Ministry of Health; B. Medicine Control Agency; C. Pharmaceutical Gambia; D. National Public Health Laboratory Service; E. Medical and Dental Council Gambia; F. Nursing and Midwife Council Gambia; G. Public and Environmental Council Gambia; H. Epidemiology and Disease Control Unit; I. National Public Laboratory Service; J. National Pharmaceutical Services; K. AKI Teams Association and Justice for 66+ children; I. Gambia Union; M. Parliamentary Quarters Association; N. Medical Consultants in Pediatrics; O. Pharmaceutical Importers Association and Pharmacy Society Gambia; B. West Africa Postgraduate College of Commerce. The Select Committee during this period had meetings and public sessions with officials from the Ministry of Health, departments and agencies, and non-state stakeholders. However, Speaker, I will now refer the Honorable this August Assembly to page 35 and the conclusions. The findings are hereby incorporated for your follow-up, that is from page 11 to page 35. Now we move on to page 35 where we have the conclusions and recommendations. Well, that's the conclusions. Having received several evidence from different stakeholders, both in the public and private sector, including parents of the victims of AKI, the Select Committee concludes that all the cases of AKI are linked to the consumption of the contaminated medical products imported by Atlantic Pharmaceutical and manufactured by Median Pharmaceutical Limited, India. The actual cause of the death of these cases is still under scientific investigations, as further tests are currently being undertaken by the Ministry of Health and partners. The Select Committee engagement with 2 dozen of stakeholders have generated fundamental inadequacies in our entire care delivery system. The findings are addressed in the recommendations of the Select Committee report. The government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Health will review these recommendations and take all necessary measures to address the gaps and challenges within the health system. Findings reveal that all importers of pharmaceutical products, wholesale and retail, into the Gambia are following Medicine Control Agency regulations, notwithstanding the encounter difficulties within the MCA operational support. The MCA is confronted with inadequate human and institutional resources. The Pharmacy Council Gambia, which is responsible, and here I will move a further motion of amendment, the self-quality control is the registration of pharmacy practitioners, inspection of pharmacy premises, and other field-related regulations is faced with each logistic and staffing constraint. This needs to be addressed to ensure that all residents in the Gambia have access to quality medicine. The Select Committee is convinced that Median Pharmaceutical Limited is culpable and should be held accountable for exporting the contaminated medicine that was linked to the death of at least 7 children in Ghana in 2022. Lack of quality control laboratory in the Gambia resulted in the delay of obtaining the test results linking the substandard syrups to the AKI. Recommendations. 161. Based on the findings of the Select Committee investigations on the issue of the AKI among children, the following recommendations are submitted to due consideration by lab, that is NMQC lab. The select committee is reliably informed by the Ministry of Health that the World Bank is funding the construction of one modern quality control lab. The select committee therefore recommends the government through the Ministry of Health to intensify efforts to complete this task as quickly as possible, realizing that this is a requirement under Section 50 of the Medicine and Related Products Act 2014. The committee further recommends at this stage to establish the authority under the control of Medicine Control Agency as it is the international best practice. A parallel or autonomous authority created now will generate conflicts of command with different parameters. Samples from MCA will be handled at the convenience of the lab or authority, which may result in delays. An independent national laboratory can be built individual to support MCA with more advanced confirmatory tests. 2. The select committee stressed the need for an urgent establishment of a functional pharmacovigilance unit at the MCA and hereby recommend for its immediate establishment in January 2022. Honorable of adverse drug reaction is not unusual, but constant reminders and improvement from the Ministry of Health and the MCA to both private and public sectors, including public, may improve the situation. 3. The select committee also recommends for the harmonization of pharmacy regulations with the West African region. MCA should involve our sister countries such as Nigeria and Ghana and others are encouraged to meet scrutiny for on-the-spot assessment. The committee also recommends that the government through the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology to establish a school of pharmacy at the University of the Gambia to train more pharmacists and strengthen regulatory and healthcare delivery institutions. 5. The select committee recommends for MCA to blacklist many pharmaceutical products and ban all their products in the Gambia market. 6. The government should follow legal action against various pharmaceuticals exporting contaminated drugs to the Gambia with the Atlantic brand name. Investigations have revealed that Atlantic farmers in the Gambia have followed all regulations for importation of medicine, including the batch that had the contaminated syrups. 7. The government was strengthening MCA capacity with the needed financial aid and human resources for more effective and efficient implementation of its regulated function. 8. MCA to ensure compliance by both public and private sectors to the regulatory requirements of the Medicine and Related Products Act 2014. 9. MCA to operate as an autonomous agency for effective and efficient regulation. 10. Government will strengthen the hospital to require medical products supplied with effective and efficient management of patients. 11. Ministry of Health to revive the primary healthcare system for allocation of medical cases for more effective and efficient healthcare delivery. 12. MCA must increase background checks on companies from which pharmacies or importers buy medicine. In doing this, on-site visits of manufacturing drug companies to be done by MCA before granting permit to any importer. 13. Pharmacies encourage buy jointly so that they have a high buying power. This will ensure that they can purchase from the high quality companies and they will also get certificates of analysis for this product. 14. As a temporary measure, the select committee believes the idea of every pharmacy having its right to be reconsidered and more emphasis should be placed on quality at the point of purchase of the product. The processes, the proper flowing of the regulatory framework, we therefore recommend MCA to strengthen supervision and the cost of entry. 15. Because the cost of medicine is high, partly due to testing and importation payments levied on importers, MCA should consider a reduction in the cost of medicines for the public by collecting payments for registration for listing in dollars and by also accepting payments for testing in local currency, that is dollars. MCA as an institution can convert these funds to foreign currency through an existing bank as social measure. In the long term, MCA can minimize outsourcing testing efforts and establishing a laboratory. 16. To ensure that all medicines brought to the country are registered or unlisted, MCA and pharmacy council government staff should attach the GI markets to monitor pharmaceutical products imported into the country. 17. for the Pharmacy Council to carry out, to carry out its regulatory mandate effectively, it requires the establishment of the Consular Secretariat with an annual survey to enhance its qualified legislation, supervision, enforcement, and monitoring functions. 18. The Ministry of Health should continue with its existence and rigorous sensitization of the population in local languages in all healthcare outlets about risks of self-medication and the consumption of medicines in the unregulated markets. 19. The relevant government ministries and departments are recommended to revisit their initial emergency response to 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍 in collaboration with relevant civil society organizations and community-based organizations to address the issues of victims and their families. 20. Ensure that all medicines, and then here also I will move that we incorporate some amendments here. Ensure that all medicines are registered or listed before importation into the government. This will require MCA to conduct site to inspect the manufacturing sites. Where site visit is not feasible, the MCA can work with government embassy or high commission and the exporting country to assign an agent to the site visit and submit the report accordingly. In the absence of the government embassy or high commission in exporting country, that of another Commonwealth country shall be authorized to assign an agent. 21. For medicines from less stringent regulatory quantities, the MCA shall assign accredited laboratory to conduct pre-shipment inspection and quality control testing for each consignment and be further verified by MCA agents at port of entry. Recommendation 22, paragraph 22. All products should be subjected to screening before releasing in the market for distribution and use. This will ensure that what is ordered is what is delivered to avoid what would indicate of the pharmacy. 23. Revisit MCA SOPs for importation to ensure that those suspected to be substandard, falsified, and counterfeit items are quarantined for further investigation, including quality testing at the cost of the importer. 24. Random sampling of each imported medicines to be conducted and the results kept at the MCA. This practice will keep importers on their toes and so that at least 5% of all randomly sampled medicines are annually tested, examined 2.5% each 6 months at the cost of the importer. 25. All premises, wholesale pharmacies, retail pharmacies, and drugstores shall maintain a real-time electronic database tracing all medicines from importer to user. This will help tracing and record of medicine as well as for easy retrieval of information. And then here also recommendation 20, I will move for amendment, which will read as the government should provide compensations to the families of the disease and surviving children. This will include free medical care, surviving children with AKI, until they obtain food care and recovery. Recommendation 27.
You're on 26.
Yes, I'm on 27 now.
But no, you talked about recommendations.
Yes.
So you are changing 26 to the one you are reading now.
Yes, I'm incorporating some amendments. Thank you. 26 will read as the government should provide compensation to the families of deceased and surviving children. This will include free medical care for surviving children with acute kidney injury until they obtain food care and recovery. 27. The Medicine and Related Products Act should be amended to give clear and direct powers to the MCA to regulate and impose sanctions on the sector without having to seek the approval of the Minister of Health. This is to prevent the affairs and ineffectiveness of the agency and its decision. 28. Similarly, the Pharmacy Council Act should be amended to give clear and direct powers to the Pharmacy Council of Gambia to regulate and impose sanctions without having to seek the approval of the Minister of Health. 29. The Ministry of Health should become more vigilant and play an effective oversight over the MCA and Pharmacy Council of Gambia to ensure that they are effectively executing their functions without interfering in their operations. Therefore, the Select Committee recommends for the government through the Ministry of Health reviewing of the laws and regulations governing pharmacy and drug regime in the Gambia and table it before the National Assembly Parliament. Thank you very much.
Member for Oponomi.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. And I definitely want to support this motion. Honorable Speaker, I think this is a very important parliamentary where the President is carrying out the ceremony of health. Just to add on what my chairman said, which are all work, so I don't have much to say. But I went to look at the report for the Act of 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒃, we found that in section 57, where we have the Governing Council, the Director of Health Services is not part of this Governing Council. And the Director of Health Services is responsible of all health-related matters from Katon to Kwena in this country. Therefore, we are recommending for them to bring the act for that most amendment to be made. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Oponomi, for seconding the motion. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report of the Select Committee on Health Inquiry into the Acute Kidney Injury, AKI, resulting to the death of at least 66 children. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate may do so now by show of constituency card. I now recognize the member for Kiang West to take the floor.
Honorable Speaker, colleague honorable members, I would like to thank the committee for doing this great job. But then I think the most important or bigger congratulation goes to the members who lobbied for an extraordinary National Assembly session to look into this matter. This is what led us to where we are today. And I want to thank all the members who have appended their signatures to call for an extraordinary session for this August Assembly to look into the matters that affect the life of the children of this country. So thank you very much for that. And by extension to the chair of the committee, I want to thank you for the great job that you guys have done for us. I want to thank the parents also for having patience with the National Assembly and throughout the period to wait for this time to come. The people of the Gambia are waiting for the position of the National Assembly with respect to this matter. The victims' families are waiting, but I think they've been anxiously very, very patient with us. So here we are today looking at the findings of the committee that has been tasked to carry out this exercise. Honorable Speaker, I have a few observations for the committee to look at this issue critically. And in the concluding remark, it says, the actual causes of death of these children is still under scientific investigation, as casualty tests are currently being undertaken by the Ministry of Health and partners. So this is telling us that this caption of the report is telling us that still the actual causes of the death of this number of children is not been established. If the scientific investigation is still undergoing, is still in progress to establish this. But then, there is another caption of the report which says, when you get to page 21, it says the autopsy results of 2 of them shows multi-organ failure and fatty necrosis, explains that this was a toxin that was causing multi-organ failure. And this toxin was present in the drug. This toxin was present in the drug. And this was also a scientific process. So if the other part of the reports are telling us that the investigations are still in progress, but the other part is telling us that there is a toxic, and the toxic that is present in the drug that causes the death of the children. So I want us to have a look at these two to ensure consistency. If still there are investigations in progress that we cannot establish the causes of the death and the toxin where it is present, then we would establish that the investigation is still in progress. But if it has been established in your report that there is a toxin which is present in that drug, and you're telling us the investigation is still in progress, is this a cover over what? So we want you to stand on a single balance point to tell us this is what we have established, or the investigation is still in progress, we couldn't establish anything yet. Honorable Speaker, looking at page 50 also, page 20, paragraph 51 also says, following clinical findings shows that poisoning led to the causes of the acute kidney injury. Where do we get the poisoning? This is also telling us that the poisoning leads to the acute kidney injury. Where did we get the poison from? How was this known? This is all carried out through a scientific process. Through a scientific process, you were able to establish this. Didn't you build trust in those who carried out the investigation for you? If you have faith and trust in them, so I think the committee should be able to make a conclusion about the causes of these injuries. Honorable Speaker, moving to the recommendations. The recommendation which says, the random sampling, recommendation 24 says, random sampling of each imported medicines should be conducted and the results kept in the MCA. This random sampling of each medicine imported, if you select things randomly, you might have left others that are contaminated. If you do your selection randomly, you might have left the most contaminated ones there. So I think, proper scientific engagement should be carried out to ensure that these drugs are tested, to ensure that MCA do their jobs. Are they autonomous? We don't know. Or they are semi-autonomous. If they are, we want to know. So that the Ministry of Health also have a part of authority over them to perform an oversight on them. So let the ministry play its role. Of course, during the pandemic, we have seen the amount of funds that was allocated through a supplementary appropriation. What's wrong with coming with a budget either through a supplementary appropriation or any other mean, according to the law, to ensure that the machines are bought for these drugs to be tested? Is COVID more special than these issues? And these are ongoing matters. A pandemic is a period of time. It can end within few years, but it's an ongoing matter that affects the lives and livelihood of the Gambians. And even not only Gambians. Anybody who is resident in this country is affected. So I think the ministry should take their position by performing an effective and efficient oversight on the MCA. Honorable Speaker, looking at the recommendation, I have not seen any part of the recommendation that puts National Assembly into the follow-up of the matters to ensure that we have an implementation of this process. Everything is left in the hand of the ministry and the government. people that we are blaming for negligence, we are giving them a responsibility to implement these recommendations without involving ourselves. I think we need to look at recommendations very well, where National Assembly will play a role to ensure that these recommendations are implemented. And part of the recommendations where you talk about ensuring free medical treatment for the children, those that survive the infection. That free medical treatment, what do we mean by free medical treatment? Because when you get to our health center, do we mean they need, if they required overseas treatment, they should be given an overseas treatment? Or anytime they are ill, they get to our health centers, they should be considered giving free medical treatment? I don't understand what kind of a free medical treatment do you really mean by this? Or they should take them to private clinics in the Gambia here and treat them? These are some of the things that, Honorable Speaker, we really want to have a look at. Looking at recommendation 20 also, which says, ensure that all medicines are registered before importation in the Gambia. This will require MCA to conduct site visits to inspect the manufacturing sites. This is a very huge and a very mega recommendation. For our MCA to be running across the world, for every in manufacturing industry where medicines are produced and they are imported to the Gambia, to get to those sites and make inquiries on the drugs, whether the right drugs are imported to the Gambia or not. This is a great job. And it's resource. It requires resources. It attracts a lot of resources. But what we need to do is we strengthen our internal control mechanisms. Let's strengthen internal control mechanisms. We have the system in place that is going to do the test and give us a true result. Because you can have a machine in place that will do the test and give you a false result as well. But let's have these machines in place that will do investigation for us, a test for us, and tell us this is the true results of this, and ensure that these drugs that we use are also recognized with WHO. I think the WHO should also be very helpful in the matter, in the process, to ensure that the drugs are recognized by them before we import them to the country. And I even wonder how these drugs escaped the WHO and intruded into the Gambia. We have to look at the matter holistically. How the drugs escaped all those stages and intruded into the Gambia until it went on killing all these children. The matter should be looked at holistically. For them to also give us a report. Has the medicines gone to other parts of the world? Why was Gambia very special? If it does, what is the position of WHO as far as this matter is concerned? And lastly, what I want to talk about is that the recommendation that talks about the government taking legal procedures with the company that manufactured these products. This is a very vague, recommendation. And it's a very long process. The government should take when should they take a legal process? And what kind of a legal process should we take? So I think we should look at the issues and be very specific and be direct to the point to ensure that the government is put to task. The Minister of Health is put to task. The MCA is put to task to ensure that they carry out with recommendations as they're supposed to do it. Legal processes they're supposed to do. When should they do this? Should they wait until 2025? And how should they do this? So I think these things need to be looked at very well. You've also talked about the construction of one of the units in the Ministry of Health that we carry out some tests. Yes, it says, recommendation 2. The select committee stressed the needs for an urgent establishment of a functional, can somebody pronounce this for me? All right, that's very scientific, whatever. Unit at the MCA and hereby recommends for its immediate establishment in January 2023. January 2023, in 3 weeks' time. You are recommending, is this really feasible? Is it realistic that they will be able to do this? If they should be able to do this, we want to know so that we make sure that by January 2023, this unit is established and a committee walks out from this assembly to conduct a site visit and see what obtains at the ministry, whether it is available or not. Because the National Assembly recommendations cannot just be talking. Honorable Speaker, I submit and I beg to take my seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, member for Kiang West. I now recognize the member for Lower Flood West to take the floor.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Before I go further, I want to tell the member for Kiang, we are dealing with a scientific issue. In scientific issue, you not 3M, you go into facts. And going into facts, there are investigations that are needed. And as a result of being poor, this is the price that the country is paying. First and foremost, the House needs to understand what is AKI. This is caused by 3 factors. And these factors, 1 would be bacteria, 2, medication, 3 could be toxin. Let's understand the relationship between medication and toxin. So this is a scientific issue. It's just not goes to conclusion like you wanted. Furthermore, the committee did justice. Looking at recommendation for establishing a lab, you cannot test without having a lab. And then we were informed to have a well-defined lab. It is costing the country $7 million. This is just the structure and the machinery. Where is the manpower? So that was just for member for Kiang. And I'm also telling you that we were tasked to do this job. For the fact that we do this job, we are not saying that what all we said in there is 100%. It's for the August Assembly to look at it. The job that you assign us, that's what we have done. We present it to you. You either agree or accept or not. But this is what we have done to the latter. And beyond reasonable doubt, we want to convince this August Assembly that we did justice to the job that was given to us. No, this matter I'm talking to the Kiang West.
We are not here for lectures. This is why we are tasked to do a job. Address the speaker.
Order.
Yes, Honorable Kiang, like I told you, this is a scientific wall, huh? Just to inform you that, huh?
Remember, can you sit down, please? Can you sit down, please? Honorable member, yes, you address me. You can raise your concerns or points. You can agree or disagree with any other honorable member, but address the speaker. And the honorable member for Janjambure, if you want to, or any other member point of order or observations or your corrections, let's do through the procedures. Thank you. Honorable member, you may proceed.
Thank you very much. Going back to the recommendation 20, we have to understand that the Pharmacy Council, that is one of the stakeholders that have been mentioned over and over. This is the body. Yeah, go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, I think the member is a member of this committee that gave us this report. And therefore, if he is answering, only one person speak, and then you are answering on behalf of the mover, that is not given to us. I think if we give us time for us, those of us who are not part of your committee, to raise issues, then later on you can respond to those issues. Would be the better way to do. Thank you.
For that observation, agreed, Speaker. I will be able to sit down and wait to be given another opportunity to come.
I now give the floor to the member for Busumbala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, having heard from the mover of the motion in respect to this AKI disaster, I really find it difficult to understand their standpoint. Looking at their recommendation and that of the conclusion, Honorable Speaker, I think in any situation we need to identify the real perpetrators, or in this case, I will say the real duty bearers of this problem. Honorable Speaker, primarily, the government of the Gambia is one of the duty bearers in this issue, and also the Minister of Health, the MCA, and that of the Atlantic pharmacies. But going by the recommendation of the committee, there is no points that indicates that the following duty bearers could be culpable of what had happened. All what I have seen in the report is that the median pharmacy that manufactured this drug is being singled out to be responsible for what had happened. Honorable Speaker, I don't think we are fair. Holistically, we should look at the players, the actors in this respect. This is an unfortunate situation where Gambia is mourned, and we are still, because we lost a generation of 70+ children. Who could be you, Honorable Speaker, and who could be me, and even the President of this country? But they met their untimely death because the primary duty bearers of this country failed to protect them. That's why I said it's unfortunate they were born in a country whose medical security is not at its best. Honorable Speaker, the Select Committee of Health did indicate or inform us through their report that the MCA, Medical Control Agency, was established in 2014. And Section 50 of the Medical Control Agency did make a provision where the government should build a laboratory that will be capable of testing medicines that may find itself in this country, so that to save lives, to stop unnecessary contaminations. If those rules are flouted by our own government, I think the government should be a primary duty bearer to be held culpable of what had happened, down to the agency who are mandated to regulate and enforce the rules. I would say, hence I'm not convinced by the report of the Select Committee, because I'm just seeing their culpability directing only and a manufacturers who are not present in this country. We understand they could be culpable, but then let's control or look at it nationally, then transit above the borders and look at what happens there. We can do that through diplomatic channel. But what is obtainable at this point in time is to ensure that the life that have lost did happen in this country. Who are the primary duty bearers to take responsibility must be made mention clearly in the report, so that we know that the committee have performed their duties. The committee did so many investigations. We appreciate their effort, that they contact several, even pharmacists that were not named in this case, but they contact them and check findings they take their information from them and give us. We appreciate that. But we are saying the committee should do more to make sure that, they boldly point out the primary duty bearers who could be culpable in this respect. On that case, Honorable Speaker, I beg to have my seat.
Thank you, member for Busumbala. I now recognize the member for Fonyi, Councillor.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I thank the Select Committee for the tremendous effort in this crucial moment. As we all know, this is a national disaster, and it's a concern to the Gambian populate, from Karton to Koina. In regard to the report that's been laid by the chairman, we thank all his members for a tireless effort. It's never easy, and we believe this is the only way that we can achieve. And secondly, also, I will also thank the initiators who had put their house in order and summoned an extraordinary. This is laudable, and this is a national call. I believe, with due respect, commendation needs to be done to those people, and we are here for the service of the nation. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, success begins in difficulty. Sooner or later we will arrive at the land of destination. Honorable Speaker, as per the oversight spot checks visit, I know whether it's a typographical error. Atlantic Pharmacy is not part of the list given, though if you go to details of the report, you will see it mentioned. I also indulge the chairman to factor it and also include it in the bullet points that are being shown, the checks, visit pharmacies and importers. Honorable Speaker, for me, I am going to conclude this. And these are facts. And we believe we are not here to be standing saying stories or defending the defenseless. Facts are very clear. And it's at the open for all of us to see that you have an act, a law is in place. Section 50 of Medicine Control Act has emphasized nothing can be done without that particular machine. For years of establishment, it has never happened. So who do we lay the blame to? An agency is available. So it means, as a country, we are not even safe. Drugs can enter, wherever it is from. No machine that will be able to do its scientific test. So this is something that we think is an urgent matter, and it's as urgent as not even a week. All resources should be in place to make sure this is amicably restored to order. Without which, we will be hearing World Bank, World Bank, World Bank. What can the country do for us without World Bank? So he's saying the World Bank has in discussion with the government. They are in line to make sure XYZ is done. So if it's not possible, what is the next avenue? So the committee per se had limited idea onto which, when do we have this scientific laboratory operational? We have medicine in stock, pharmacies. You go to certain area, you don't even have drugs. Go to health centers, hospitals, drugs are not available. So it means, what are the modes of operandi in making sure those drugs will be released? So this is a point that we think we should all note this and make sure it is addressed. The other thing also, conclusively, I know scientific and scientific apparatus that could ascertain partly says toxic, poisonous. The other said also, another finding is ongoing, preliminary investigation as the report is showing, that these are the causes. And we are also factoring again to do more investigation. I think it boils towards the kaput nature of our medical and health services in the Gambia. There's nothing that would be able to regularize the status. And we'll be dancing and drumming, speaking send messages in the parliamentary, and it is still going to be the same thing. So I believe, as a nation, we have to be very serious. These are lives that matters, especially the younger generation. Young ones have been killed innocently. Only apparatus, laboratory testing machines are not available. This will cause the delay or the importation of unwanted drugs that is ready to make suicidal to the nation. This is a national thing. It is all of us. No one is safe. You go to villages now, even these cough syrups, they will never even tell you that my child, daughters will not even take this anymore. Trust and confidence is not there. So we think, are we safe as a nation? And we'll still be waiting. The World Bank is facilitating the government to make sure X, Y, Z. What do we do in place? So the other thing also that I also want to emphasize, as National Assembly members, this is something that we need to address this together. It is not only the medical and health, pharmacy council, X, Y, Z. What is our role? People have stood and said that let's call for an extraordinary to make sure we summon this. It is the same thing that we are not going to joke with this. If we've seen that there is deficit, even in the committee that is responsible for the health aspect of this, we don't mind calling another session or a motion to make sure we repel them out and constitute a fresh one to make sure proper investigation is done. These are facts. My daughter has died. My son has died. My nephew, cousin have died. We will continue to die like that. And yes, we are saying, okay, medical control, no pharmacy, the government is XYZ now. We will also make sure the made in pharmacy, we punish them for this, no drug importation, Atlantic XYZ. And as per the prescription of this report, the Atlantic has fulfilled all its conditional mandate to make sure they work towards being a pharmacy that will be able to at least adhere and do all service of the drug. Even if it happens, name them, the pharmacists in the Gambia, name them, give them tag names. If they are adhering, and it's part of the law and the mandate to make sure they do their particular job, they will do it. But the fact of the matter here is, whatever process and procedure we do, if we don't have that soldier that is ready to defend that country as a laboratory test, history will keep on repeating, and we will lose some sons and daughters, both day and night, nothing will be done. Even it costs millions. We can even, come with something that will make sure that we see instant for that laboratory to be able to execute it. So all these are issues that I think, Honorable Speaker, it boils around to lack of pragmatism in making sure healthcare services is adhered. We come, we be passing bills here. This is about this agency, this is about this agency. An agency that is not being supported. Resource base is zero, nothing is there. How do you think that particular agency will be able to function its course? It won't. These are hard facts. So, all what we are saying here is this. In as much as we are concerned, the death of these 60+ children, government is the duty bearer. They should boldly take it and make sure they accept that they had a failure, a system failure in the healthcare services. Seconded by the MCS. It's an organ. You outsource, mandate. Whatever is done is, somebody is controlling the movement of that particular agency. And the reason being that is to make sure the productiveness and also whatever we think as a healthcare system, as a government, and the people who are working in those health sectors, I believe it is high time we put our house in order. Though the committee has did extremely well, came out to do certain search that they think is in line. But we are saying that most of these recommendations, what we should agree here is, before we leave this August Assembly, all of us, irrespective of wherever you belong to, all of us today is the making day, that we should agree that this report, we are not even going to address it. We will leave a deaf ear in it. If that particular pharmacist the laboratory is not instituted forthwith within 2 weeks, we will be held responsible as a country. On that note, I thank you and I give you the
Thank you, member for Fonyi Councillor. I now recognize the member for Fonyi Bintang Karanai to take the floor.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Speaker. I will ask and urge the National Assembly to pay more attention to the Ministry of Health. More attention to the Ministry of Health. Reasons. 1. The recommendation given to us by our own committee is a recommendation that is known to us. Investigation has revealed that pharmacy in the Gambia had followed all the regulation for importation of medicine, including the batch that had the contaminated swab. They followed all the procedures. They followed all. Where is the problem? Where does the problem lies? Recommendation 7, the government should strengthening MCA. Should we tell the government to strengthen that? Recommendation 9, MCA to operate as an autonomous agency for effective and efficient regulation. If they do not operate as an autonomous, who is responsible? Why do you want them to operate as autonomous? Yes, they should be autonomous. In performing their function, who was interfering? Recommendation 11, the Ministry of Health to revive the primary health care system for early detection of medical. Should we tell the government this? Recommendation 12, MCA must increase background checkup on companies from which pharmacists or importers buy medicine. Should we tell government this? Is this something I don't even understand? Now, looking at that, what was the function of MCA? You told us that they followed the Atlantic band followed all the procedures, everything. They followed it in full. Where does the problem lies? And you are not taking anybody to account for this. You are not taking anybody to account for this. In a country wherein we want to compromise with whatever happened. I said it here initially, and I was contradicted by the speaker. Here, in the process of building a nation, it does not call for relationship, friendship, or whatever. It calls for loyalty, commitment, dedication, and honesty. And in it, we are not going to compromise or beg for relationship. I am not happy with the recommendation, I must say it, even if I stand alone in an island where I will die alone. I prefer that. To be honest with you. The MCA, what were they doing? How were they testing medicine? How were they controlling it in the absence of a laboratory? In the absence of it, how were they doing it? And how did they allow the pharmacy to go on and sell all those drugs until this tragedy happens and MCA are not to be taken into account, and the Ministry of Health will not also be taken into account? What are we telling ourselves? This is why initially I am not with agreement that we should allow only the health committee to take up the responsibility. I wanted a tough and a critical process wherein we will not compromise, we will not beg for any relationship. Per se, the nation is mourning, the nation continues to mourn. Now, the ball is in our court. What are we going to do? The recommendations are here, but they hold no salt. So it is left to the Parliament to decide. I am not in agreement with all this. Thank you.
Thank you, member for Fonyi Bintang Karanai. I now give the floor to the member for Choswan constituency.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. And I also join my colleagues to say a big thank you to the Health Committee for taking time, going around the country with your own time, talking to stakeholders with regards to this report. And today we are here today to look at the report Honorable Speaker, though I wasn't here during the extraordinary session, but for the families who lost their kids, I'm saying may their soul rest in peace, and may Allah give you the heart to take it. Honorable Speaker, going through the report, I have a question that I want to ask. Maybe the chair will later on respond. Yes, there was an investigation. Yes, people were consulted in the Gambia. But my question is, the pharmacy in India, was there any communication between the two parties? The reason for asking this question is based on this. This is somebody selling his product. I am the one going to buy. What am I buying? What am I requesting? What am I trying to get for my people? It is so very important for us to note. Am I buying the cheap one that I feel that when I bring it to my people, they will buy it? That's a question. Am I going for quality? Or am I only going for quantity? Because this issue came at a time when the demand was very high. During rainy season, when we always talk of malaria, we talk of different diseases between this syrup. When they are placing their orders, how do they place their orders? That needs to be known. I think that's very important for the committee. 102, it was them going to India to sit with these people and investigate with the ministry to know why. How was this request being placed? But maybe the chair will respond onto that. Honorable Speaker, and the other thing they say that they were given a certificate of what? Analysis was accompanied with these drugs. What were they analyzing? What result did they have come out with? One of the members is saying that these things are scientific. But scientific also comes with facts. Scientific comes with facts. They tell you A, B, C, and D. It with symbols and everything, they give you everything in clearly that this is what A indicates and this is what B indicates. So I think it is very important for this follow-up to be made and then resources to be given to this assembly. Honorable Speaker, yes, it happens. We're talking of having a laboratory to be testing these medications. Currently, most of these medications are under quarantine. When are they going to be tested and to be given back to the government people? Will you be sitting down waiting until there is a shortage of drugs? Then it is worse than acting immediately than still waiting. All drugs coming should wait for proper testing. And shifting also the same testing to the people importing. That if you import, you go and do your own testing at your own cost. They test at their own cost. And the cost come back to us as what? The poor people. Because if they test, those charges come back to us and they charge us. I think we have to look at this thing properly as Gambians. And most of these people that suffered, if you look at them, if you check, they come from families like my family, the very poor ones. If I cannot have access to medication now, because of what the high cost, then where am I? Then I go back to the serial tradition and do what is normal. Cut a tree and mix and give it to my child to drink. And it might be the worst. Honorable Speaker, and also suggesting also, yes, the machine is expensive. When will government come to buy it? Why can't you sit together with these suppliers, with these importers, and discuss with them? The cost they are charged to go and test outside. Why not sit together and come with a solution? What is the solution? Can you bring in 10, I bring in 5, and I bring in 6 to get this machine as quickly as possible? Even though the funds are not currently available. Engage them, discuss with them. It is the interest of this country than always keeping those medications and sending them for testing. And who is going to qualify the testing place? Is it government or is it the pharmacy owners? If you are leaving everything for them to go and test, they might go and test and come with certificate and say they pass the test. So giving them the access to go and test and come with the results, give it to you for you to analyze, is also another process. And it will take time. How many of us are suffering from high blood? You want to see there is no medication, and then this is also trying to create an order lab somewhere. Because if it's not available now, it comes through the back way. Who is there to control? Coming through the back way, who is there to control? Then what we are running away from, we come into the same bowl again. If he needs to control, let's look at a solution out of this. Let's sit together, let's discuss together, and come with solutions that can help. But if you want to shift everything to the importers, to say, go and test on your own, and take up the bill, that means in the coming years, medication will be like this. Before you get it, you must spend money. Or if not, the journalists will come and bring it through Fonyi and then bring it through the other part of Fonyi and bring it here. And the flash will come through the other part of, you are allowed to bring it inside the Gambia. For the new cash, we are safe to go. So let's look at it critically and try to work on as a team and work as Gambia and see Gambia first. Coming to the certificates that are being issued to people. These certificates are issued to Gambians. They are not given to non-Gambians. They are given to Gambians, our brothers, our sisters, our parents. Why are they given to Gambians? Because the only person qualified to hold those certificates should be Gambians. So if they are to be given to Gambians, I think we have to be very honest to ourselves and do what is right. Let's try to do what is right. You are giving this certificate to import, but you are not giving this certificate to give it to a third party to import for you. Let's stop defending. Let's do what is right. Gambia belongs to us. We are the one who can build Gambia, but cannot be built by anybody. Let's change our attitudes towards what we are doing. Let's try to stand together. Yes, it happens. The cause is still, there are recommendations being done, but for me, the main pharmacy in India should tell us how it happened. Why that toxic in that medication? Why? I'm not saying it was only meant for Gambia, but I heard that there were some countries that also fall into the same trap. But why did it happen? Was it done because the cheap product, that's what went in for? Currently in some areas in Serakunda, I will not mention any pharmacy name, but there are certain pharmacies in this country, when you talk of medication, the people will rush there because of what it is cheap. Being cheap doesn't mean that it's giving you what you want. They are currently within the KMC, where many Gambians are rushing now to go and buy medication. And if you actually say, if you go there with the money you have what you want. Having that medication, is it that what is going to help to cure you? I think it is high time for us to stand, look at the right people, engage the right people to go and do what is right. We do come here with bills, we do come here with motion, we do come here with everything to regulate. But those regulating should be honest and sincere people. When you come to me and I am not doing it right, put me to a halt to say this is not right. But don't expect my pocket and make it right for me. That won't help. And it's about medicine. It's about life. Honorable Chair and your committee, keep up the job, but continue the research. It should not stop here. And look at this proposal. If possible, if at all it's not available now, engage these pharmacy owners. If they have the money available, join hands with them. You go and buy and then start deducting from their license. Their early contribution. That can help. Honorable, I address my case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member for Josuang. At this stage, you saw me conferring with table office because I noticed that the minister is not around and the permanent secretary, so I asked him to inquire with the director of health services following my direction that all stakeholders attend on our last Thursday's meeting. And I was meant to understand the minister and the PS travel. Then I asked him to, because it was my understanding that they have 2 permanent secretaries. Why the other one is not here, or DPS. So he said the other one is sick, but the 2 deputy permanent secretaries, they are here, and the leadership of the Pharmaceutical Council as well as the MCA. So because they must come and listen to what members' concerns and issues as I instructed last Thursday. That was the confinement I was doing. Thank you, Member for Johnson. That is for the information of the honorable members. Now I give the floor to the member for Brikama South. Now the member for Lower Salum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I began to say Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. Initially, when this was happening, I was not here, I was away. For that being the case, I also registered my heart failure to the birth families. Honorable Speaker, I also want to restart my name. The reason why I don't append my signature on the extraordinary. I was the first person to shake this by the member for Upper Nyomi. He said no to that initially. But later on, there was a campaign that was done by the minority leader, which I salute you, that you have taken a good responsibility of your leadership, because it's affecting things within the premise of the Gambian people. The reason why I don't append my signature, I was not here. But if I was here, I would be the first person to append my signature on the list. Again, I called the table office, Halifambai. He said it's already passed to the speaker's decks. So I couldn't append my signature. But that being the case, I'm with minority leader and his camp, and whoever is in the support of this extraordinary session, I am in full time with you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also must register my the failure of the ministry first thing. Now, if something is happening, we have to address it sincerely. The member for Flood West, you are not here to silence anybody. Because telling me 70 million is expensive. How many millions of dollars are within our country? They have to make a plan how to establish this testing lab. So you want to say that killing 66 people is cheap? Going for how to call it, a lab is expensive? Then why are we here then? We have to be very sincere on what we are saying. Nobody is opposing anybody here. We are representing people, and which we are voted. When we are going for our campaign, we are going to represent you people in the plenary or in the chambers. So nobody is here to silence anybody. If it's not right, we will say it's not right. What is wrong, we will say it's wrong. What is good, we will say it's good. I am putting to the member of Flood West. You saying 70 million is expensive. I'm said no. Are we bold enough to do it or not? Or are we ready to do it? If we are ready, we will do it. I am putting to him, he is not ready. This is why he said it's expensive. And we are ready to fund that lab to be established. How many Gambians are dying? These 66, as members say, they can be presidents, they can be ministers. Only a minister traveling to a foreign country, going for loan and grants. We approved $80 million project for agriculture. And that project failed. That is root projects. There are grants and loans. Why not this lab? We need $70 million. Are we ready for it? 7 million. 7 million. Are we ready for it? We are not ready for it. So the member cannot silence anybody here. Honorable Speaker, the failure of the ministry, that should be fundamental right for establishing a lab component. Since 1965, up to date, how many ministries has gone and are appointed and left? But none of these people come with any resolutions or any idea that to the National Assembly, let's build this thing for our people. I have not seen any budget line whereby there will be a lab in the Gambia for a budgetary lab. For since 1965 up to date, I have not seen it. I have not seen it, but I have not seen it. From 2017 to date. That should be primary number one for the ministry. Because the drugs that we are going to consume have to be tested. Then they fail us there. Honorable Speaker. The second part is, if anybody is here to tell me and bring justification, there's no Gambian who is in India that established a pharmacy. But then they come here and establish pharmacies. And we live with them. We live at this. That is the failure of the ministries and the MCA. A non-Gambian should not come here and establish a pharmacy. Where are our policies? That's why we said these are our policies that will guide us through, that will govern us. We just prepare documents, a policy, and bring to the Parliament, we pass. But we will never implement any of our policies. Who is smart and go and establish a pharmacy in India? And if they come here with that small loan, they go for pharmacies. And we are established throughout our four corners of our countries. In fact, those ones who are, they are making businesses to gain profits. But none of them that will come with a medical certificate that I am a trained medicalist. None of them. Because we thought they have money. Killing our kids, people. Because they know that here is a dumping place. Honorable Speaker. That should not be. If something is happening, let's all join together and make a solution to it. If this is happening, it's not there to whether you are an APRC or UDP or NPP or NRP. When it comes, it kills everybody. So when it comes, we have to join our hands together and protect our people. Because they said the committee have made justice. Of course, you make a justice to your report because you are not scientists. You could have come to Parliament again. You said you tasked us to do something. Because we are not scientists, this is why we can't bring an evidence that is the cause of those 66 kids. And now you said it's a scientific investigation going on still now. Which companies are doing it? Tell us which partners and the ministers who are doing it. I'm saying I cannot consume this report. They are not scientists, and we tax them to bring us evidence what kills these 66. And the same report comes back again. They are still in scientific investigations. Then you don't do justice to us then. Come back and say, we cannot find what kills these 66 people because we are not scientists. Then we allow the scientists to do their job. But you can't come in with your recommendations. What MSC can your Monday, I will not say. Because you are tasked to do a job. You are tasked with a responsibility. And that responsibility is accompanied with a policy. So if you can't do it, I will not say you to do it, because all the report is that. We want to know what kills our people, and those who license givers will be charged for responsibility of killing our people. Because there's no in the report what is cause of the death of these 66 or 70 people, kids. No, not on the report that shows it, because they are not scientists. Then we allow the due process to go with the scientists. I think, Honorable Speaker, what is making us not to develop as a country? We have to put things that are not in reality. We focus on developing our own country. If somebody made a mistake, if these are other part of countries, they will sue them, and they're going to hold them accountable. So there's no in the report, nowhere where I showed in the report what is the cause of the death of these 66, and which they are tasked to do. But the only report that we have to regulate their policies and no, we are not on that. They know what to do. And in fact, it's our own government people who were given this license to operate. And now they are not operating. They will give this license to other foreigners to bring medicines in our country. We should not be. We had to, as a Gambia, we had to work together and see the process for our people. Because the only dead ones is the farmers. Non-ministers' kids was dead, neither a permanent secretary or honorable members. No, none of them. Because I was one opportunity to witness the chairman of the victim and the victim association. I nearly cried. In fact, I asked him, the entire narrative of that chairman is not shown in the report. He said they cannot put it there all. Because that man attests reality. If somebody is speaking the reality, you will know, it says it from him. The body language, you will know it. And immediately when the child used that drug, he stopped urinating, going to urinate. Then the cause of that child death is that drug that he used. I will conclude saying that because of that syrup that he used, that make warrant him to stop urine. Then the cause of that child death is the syrup. But none of them have shown it here. We have to speak the truth. And all those people who are affected, all families, should not be called. As a government, we take charges and responsibilities to go and meet them in their houses. The wrong part that in fact the Ministry of Gender did, calling them to the governor's office. That should not be honorable. We are all stakeholders. Somebody is in a sad moment, calling him that only $1 million is how many kids? 66. If you divide how many dialysis that you're going to get? While prior to those deaths of kids, their parents was taking care, going for labs, paying labs fees. It's more than what your ministry gives. In fact, why in fact the ministry first place, in fact, going with $1 million? Because already the matter is on investigation. Why? First place, why? In fact, why? I'm saying no to that. The ministry, what they did, I said no. If you're going to pay congratulations to breast families, go to their homes. They will feel that you person coming to me, you feel what I feel. But calling them to, using your executive powers, call them at the Minister of the Government Office, giving those small tokens, $15,000. What is $15,000? You don't even establish the facts yet. You as a minister going with $1 million. I am said no to that. We will speak the truth. Whoever is you call it, anybody that you want to relate this matter, that's is against this report.
Honorable, please don't respond to them. Please.
I don't respond to anybody.
Sorry, Honorable, please just proceed on your contribution. Please.
No, I'm making my contribution because I'm stressed, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, if we want to build these people trust us. This is why we are here. Not because that we are paid in our coffers, not that we are charged with a responsibility. And in the day of judgment, God will account each of us what you have said in the Parliament. So we say the truth. We cannot just cover certain people on this issue. And these 66 can be ministers, can be presidents, can be imams. You understand? So we want to just put it under the cabinet, under the carpet. I said, no. We have to know the cause of this death. And it's not going to stop with this report. Because I can't digest this report for me. No. I cannot. Because if I thought I was a family who lost my kids, today I'll be very mad. It's pain to lose your kid. And but I mean, you being a loved one. Because the day that the president was narrating, I nearly cried. Because he's a loved child. So, Honorable Speaker, what is happening is a failure. That I'm saying this, non-Gambians should not handle a pharmacy. Before getting any license, you have to pass through the procedures as a Gambian. And whoever is going to import it, you're going to be a Gambian. Who feels it knows it. Because these Indian people, their families are there. They will not use these drugs. Why our kids are using it? I'm saying no to that. And I will challenge anybody for protecting these Indians. They are the cause of it. Who brought, I'm not saying all Indians, who are dealing with these pharmacies issues. Who are the importers? The cause of these drugs, these drugs to our kids. I'm telling all of them, with those Gambians who issues their license. And in fact, there's nobody, the party who issues this license, it's not mentioned in the report. And what part the government will take. So we cannot just put it under the carpet like that. No. We have to know the root cause of the death. Who is the party who is issuing this license? Because if you issue a license, it will be a Gambian. Which Gambian names is in that license list for this importation? In fact, we are told that this Indian company was someone to call 3 times for not producing quality drugs. So because of the Gambia is a dumping place, we are weak on what we are doing, on everything. So this is why let us come to Gambia. You can always see in the Gambia. So, Honorable Speaker, we are tasked for a responsibility that we are going to do, and we are going to look on anybody's eyes. Even if I told it's my brother who do it, I will say it. So, For that be the case, I am not in the party on this issue. I want to know the root cause of the death of 66. It's a two contradicting. The ministry have said this, and the committee have said this. Which is which? None of them can tell us the cause of the death. So we cannot consume this. Now let the scientific investigation take place to give us a correct and accurate evidence that this is cause of it. This is where we can talk. But for now, we can't, because they are consumed by those who consume the ministries that give them these recommendations. So I'm not here to consume this one. On that note, I take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Member for Lower Salum. I now give the floor to the Member for Brikama North and Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to join my colleagues to thank the mover, the chairperson of the committee that was assigned to conduct this parliamentary inquiry surrounding the HAI leading to the death of at least 70 innocent children. Having said so, equally I want to thank the National Assembly members for making the day possible on the 26th of November to partake, whether physically, in person, or away for other important engagement. We also are interested to take part in the extraordinary Congress. I thank you for making the day possible. Above that, especially, I thank the people or members who obtained their signatures to the request for the Speaker to convene the extraordinary session to address the issue. As I did during the debate, those who also intended to do so but did not have the opportunity to do so, we thank them for the heart they have for the country. And those who could not, for one reason or the other, equally I thank them for the position that they have taken. But this is a clear manifestation. If we tend to believe that we have the country at heart, as National Assembly members, our concerns should be dictating us. We should not be dictated by anything or anyone. Let this be a lesson for all National Assembly members. What is embedded in this report? If we have not taken that commitment to take our role as National Assembly members and conduct an independent inquiry, will not result to what we have here, even though it may not be 100% to our likings or expectations. Things that were here, if they are followed to the letter, could remedy reoccurrence of incidents of this nature. Who would say that we should not go for this? Who would say that this move is politically motivated? Who will say that this move is a UDP move? This concept should not come from anyone who tend to believe that you are a parliamentarian. Let this be a lesson we learn. We take the nation first before anything. When 70 or more innocent lives were lost, what tragedy can be more than that in this country? That should not be a concern to any Gambian, let alone parliamentarians. Let's sit and talk on that. Let's sit so that the Gambians hear our voice. If people can hear the voice of the president, the minister, what is wrong for electorate to hear our voice on this? You want to connect politics to that? Sanctioning fellow members not to sign against their will? That is uncalled for. I am not looking to a parliament. The 6th legislative parliament, we are anticipating that. The foundation laid by the 5th legislature should be maximized. We should not do anything to delay that effort that was meant to make this National Assembly an independent and a vibrant National Assembly. That was why, if there was #1 reason why we amended Section 91(1)(d) for you to gain your independence. Otherwise, I will call for yet again amendment of that section. Bring it back, because you don't want to be independent. Speak your minds. You are liberated. No political entity can cause you lose your position here. You are here to represent your people. Speak their minds, what is good for them.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, nominated member Kevalan Fofana, can we hear the point of order, please?
I'm raising on...
Sorry, Kevalan. Go ahead.
I'm raising on point 18. Any member deviating from this standing order may be immediately called to order by the Speaker or by any other member raising on a point of order. A member raising on a point of order shall direct the attention of the Speaker or she desire to bring no notice and submit the same to the Speaker for decision. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minority Leader is deviating from our point of debate. We are here to debate on the report of the Acute. Imputing improper motive on members is disorderly. We are not talking about politics here. When the issue of Acute was put on the floor, it became the property of the National Assembly. Nobody looked at it as APRC, NPP, UDP. Let us talk on the Acute report and stop the politicization. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Point of order noted. Minority Leader and Member for Birkama, take note.
Honorable Speaker, one cannot divorce this report from the request for calling an extraordinary Congress because reference has been made to it. And any issue raised during that could be those reference points. Honorable Speaker, I am simply reminding us as honorable members what is our utmost responsibility that we should be executing. And furthermore, I am saying, let this be a learning point. The 5th legislature has liberated us. We want that liberation to be won by each and every honorable member. Honorable Speaker, key in the term of reference given to the committee is the root causes of the reported death of at least 70 children. We want to know the root cause of the reported death. Honorable Speaker, even though it is stated that it could still not be established what the actual cause of the death, but somewhere in the report it is stated, page 35. The findings reveal that all importers of pharmaceutical products, wholesale and retail into the Gambia, are following the MCA regulations. Notwithstanding, they encounter difficulties with MCA operational shortcomings. The MCA is confronted with inadequate and human and institutional resources. Page 36 first. What this is trying to entail is that there are operational difficulties. But what the report fails to do, who are responsible for these operational difficulties? They are part of the cause of what happened. If the pharmaceutical products do follow the MCA regulations, and those who are responsible to ensure those operations are effectively executed, if they tend to have difficulties, whatever falls short, one will conclude that they are the ones responsible. And who are those people? This is what the report should tell us. You should not just put them under cover. Those who are responsible for those operational difficulties and failures, we need to know them. And what action should be taken on them should also be reflective in the report. The Pharmaceutical Council of the Gambia, which is responsible for quality control, inspection of pharmacy premises, and overseeing related regulation, is faced with huge logistic and staffing constraints. The Ministry of Health must be quite aware of this. And what action have they taken to put that under control? If people can stand here and say that Gambians should apologize to the minister, that's a big insult to the Gambians. With this alone, who can say the minister have no hand as far as these shortcomings are concerned that led to the death of 70 innocent children? This alone is enough for any responsible minister to be told that you failed woefully in your responsibilities. The Select Committee is convinced that the Made in Pharmaceutical Limited is culpable and should be held accountable for exporting the contaminated medicine that was linked to the death of at least 70 children in the Gambia. In the country, there was a report that instead of linking to this, it is contaminated water that was attributed to the death. Who is wrong? Honorable Speaker, in page 5, having received several evidence from different stakeholders, both in public and private sectors, including parents of the victims of acute kidney injury, the committee concludes all the cases of AKI are linked to consumption of contaminated medical products. All cases are linked to the consumption of contaminated medical products imported by Atlantic Pharmaceutical and manufactured by made in pharmaceutical limit in India. Even where scientifically we cannot conclude the actual cause, but the root cause is embedded here. What we've asked you, we know you don't have the scientific means to dig into the nitty-gritty and tell us scientifically what is responsible. The actual death, but the root cause is here. This is the key TOR that we want you to establish, and you have established that. What we want here is that what remedial measures should be taken on that point, and there should be a very strong recommendation that should be linked to this very point. The root cause is found here, honorable members, and that root cause should be dealt with. We cannot leave that hand in the hands of the government. The pause in the member who said that the report falls short to put the committee in rightful position as far as implementing the report is concerned. We cannot leave that in the hands of the government. We've known their minds. Now let them take their report, do it whatever they want to do with their report. This is our report. We will own it, take it, and do it what we want to do with it. We will not just allow our extraordinary Congress session to just go in vain. No way, they did. That will not happen here. Amend the report and put yourself there. You should be part of the implementation of this report. We found the root cause.
I remember, can I observe you? On recommendation. Can I observe you? On recommendation. This is no joke debate. Very serious to observe you, honorable member. You better wait for your time.
On recommendation.
Order.
Recommendation
member for Brikama North and Minority Leader, please.
He is not making a point of order observation.
No. I'm the one calling for order. Please, honorable members, if you want to observe him and he said no, allow him to continue. And then the other guy using the mic, please, don't do that. Proceed, honorable member.
Recommendations. Recommendation number 5 in page 38. The Select Committee recommends for MCA to blacklist made in pharmaceutical products and ban all their products in the market. If you recommend for the blacklisting of the products, what about the company? What action should happen to the company that is contributed or considered to be part of the root cause? It's not only the product that we are after, but the company that was also responsible in time to bring the product. We want to see what should happen to that product company as well. The government should pursue legal action against marine pharmaceutical exporting contaminated drugs to the Gambia with the Atlantic brand name. Investigation has with Atlantic drug name. Yes, the government, what I'm saying, that should not only be left in the hands of the government. The previous recommendation that was made, before we get to the bottom of the legal action, the company should be suspended so that the legal action can be pursued. Whatever comes out of that, let that can be. But since they are contributing factor or they contributed, they cannot just go scot-free. Let there be a suspension that should be recommended. And the government alone should not come in to ensure that this legal action, you should be the watchdog, try to monitor and follow and ensure. There, in fact, should be a timeline. We cannot just leave it vague like that. We need to give timeline. We expect within this normal period, this legal action should be mounted. Honorable Speaker, on the last parts of the recommendations at page 42, similarly, the Pharmaceutical Council Act should be amended to give clear and direct powers to the Pharmaceutical Council of the Gambia to regulate and impose sanctions without having to seek the approval of the Minister of Health. Perhaps these are the lacunas in the law. We give all the powers to the minister, and the minister is not following whatever power is given to him or her. That's what the result would be. The earlier this recommendation is done, implemented, the better. Otherwise, the same thing is going to continue. And finally, the Ministry of Health should become more vigilant and play an effective oversight over MCA and PCG to ensure that they are effectively executing their functions without interfering in their operations. If these are issues that are recommended, that means these are things that are not done. And who can say that that ministry has no hand in what has happened? I must conclude. It is the minister who should apologize to the Gambians, not Gambians to apologize to the minister. I thank you all.
Thank you, Member for Brikama North and Minority Leader. I now recognize the Member for Janjambure to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And by extension, I also want to seize this opportunity to thank the Committee on Health for a job well done on the tasks that were actually given to them. Before I start proper, I just want to make this very clear, that is to say, I think it is high time for the Honorable Minister for Health to resign from that honorable office. And the reasons why I said this is, there is nowhere in this world where such a number can lose their life and we still pretend to hide behind the pretext of not taking the responsibility. And the truth here is, looking at the report that we have before us, I think the minister has actually failed the Gambian or Gambians as a whole. Because the last time he came here, he stood before us on this particular matter, he was actually running away from a responsibility. And that is to say, he was saying the deaths of these kids may not even be attributed to medications that were taken by these children. But instead, he clearly stated that it was due to the Banjul flood that was linked to the death of these children, when that very minister couldn't actually provide the people of Banjul with an ambulance during the flood. So for me, even suppose the death of these children was caused by the flood, I think the minister failing to give the people of Banjul an ambulance to run their daily services should actually warrant him to resign from that honorable office. However, I think it is also very, very important for we to be realistic to ourselves. We need to see the truth as the truth and desist from what we think does not match with the truth. And here, this is the exact situation. It's the exact situation we are facing. Some time back, we were all in this chamber here praising the minister, saying he have done a job well done by taking the rightful measures to curb the situation. Where is he today? Where are his permanent secretaries? This will tell us that some of these ministries are not taking this honorable house serious. We can talk, we can say anything, but actions are very minimal in addressing some of these problems. Honorable Speaker, I want us to look at the findings. Bullet point 9. It says finding, the Ministry of Health, Medicine Control Agency and Pharmacy Council Gambia. If you look at number 10, it says the MCA informed the Select Committee that the Atlantic Pharmaceutical is the importer of the 4 medical products that have been found through a quality control laboratory testing in Switzerland to obtain unacceptable levels of diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol. Exactly whatever it is. Thank you. These contaminants are toxic and have been linked to AKI. And some of us here are saying there is no scientific results linking the deaths of these children to the medicines that were imported in this country. I may not be a medical practitioner, but again, I think we need to closely look at some of the documents that are shared with us, because we cannot continue to speculate. And here, I am happy that we are not speculating. We are speaking from what has been given to us. And that was an assignment being assigned to a particular committee to go and do a work and report back to us. Honorable Speaker, I wouldn't read everything. I'll get to the next point, which is number 11. The Select Committee was also informed by the MCA that they approved the import clearance permit for Atlantic Pharmacy, which contained the suspected 4 syrups on the 17th June, namely promethazine oral solution, cofexmalin baby cough syrup, Macof baby cough syrup, and Maghreb N cold syrup manufactured by Maiden Pharmacy in India. According to them, the import clearance permit was approved based on the regulations and standard operating procedures for import and export of medicine and related products. The reason why I am reading this point is the blame have been more directed to Maiden, and they're saying Atlantic Pharmacy has followed the due process in order to import these medications in this country. And if Atlantic has gone through the rightful process, then meaning the Medical Council Agency also failed us. They failed us as a country. And my stance has been, because I understand that the MCA was established by an act of parliament, but again, they are under-resourced, according to the report. And then an institution that is an under-resource with machines or with equipments or tools that can help them to execute their duties as expected. Why should we still allow such an institution to exist in this country when they cannot actually deliver on their primary role and responsibility? Why are we paying the staffs monthly salaries when actually they don't have the right equipment to do what is expected of them? I think it's better for we to reflect or for we to review this act and wait until we are ready to offer that service to the Gambians than paying staffs when actually they don't have the needful tools to execute their duties. This is rip-off and waste of taxpayers' money. Because if you are paying me to do a particular job, when I'm not given the rightful resources to execute my duties, why should you waste your money on me? And this is exactly what is happening at MCA. Also, the imported products, that is number 12, were inspected upon arrival. Everything was satisfactory because all the products came with the required certified analysis from the manufacturer. Sometimes I feel these information are not coming from the Ministry of Health or its satellite institutions. Because if you are telling me these medicines were accompanied with a competent certificate or an authentic certificate, why should they cause havoc to the nation? These are some of the reasons why I think the minister should honorably resign and go and do something better that can positively impact on the lives of the Gambians. Let's look at the National Public Health Laboratory Service. Number 14 says, according to them, they received 89 clinical samples at the NPHLs from 6th August to the 18th October 2022. Among the samples received, 36% and 64 were classified as AKI and ADD, respectively. Majority, about 75 of the samples received, were stool. So, meaning, in one way or the other, there were some scientific tests done. The process might not be completed. I might agree on that. But to tell me that there was no scientific test that was conducted to ascertain the cause of the death of these kids, I still want to disagree. And I think those that are doing that, they are just trying to misinform this August Assembly. And they should desist from that. They should desist from that. We are not here for joke. If you think you are here to defend a particular minister, please seek for an employment with that particular ministry. This is a parliament. It must be respected. We are all here simply because we are entrusted with a responsibility. This is why we were voted into office 9th April. Not otherwise. If you want to back a minister, please write an application, and if need be, you can serve as a personal assistant to that particular ministry than coming here trying to contradict your fellow parliamentarians. Yeah, or deputy minister, exactly. Yes. The collaboration with Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospitals. All the samples received at the laboratory were analyzed to determine the presence of any organism. They have analyzed both the stool and the urine samples using conventional microbiological method, and the results received the presence of E. coli among analyzed samples, and this finding came out the same with the test results of Senegal. Also, the samples tested for rotavirus at the NPHLS, and they all came out negative. Let me get to another page. Let's look at the epidemiology and disease control Control Unit. Number 17 says the Select Committee was informed that November 6th, a total of 8 suspected cases, 2 probable cases, 82 confirmed cases, and 70 dead cases, fatality rate of 85% of AKI were recorded in the country. I think this should really be a cause for concern. This should really be a cause for concern. And we are still here taking the issue as something very light. Maybe because of our political affiliation, or maybe because of our individual interest. And I think with these two, they should always remain at the corridor of the chambers, not in here. Not in here. And majority of these confirmed cases were male and children below 3 years of age. The Select Committee found out that Western One Health region recorded the highest number of confirmed cases, followed by Western 2. The outbreak went on for 5 months, from June to October. And that also reminded me about the way and manner that these innocent children lose their lives. Some time back, I was discussing with one of the mothers, I would say, one of the parents. And from her explanation, more especially, even an adult, if you should go to the room, you want to pee, you want to urinate, and you realize that there is a blockage, how will you feel? Talk less of a child that is at the age of 3. A child at the age of 3 who would find it difficult to urinate. That person suffers before dying. So we cannot just compromise maybe for the simple reason that we don't want to hold anyone responsible. We should start it with the Minister of Health. He failed. Even in a situation where he is the best minister in this country, the death of 70 children, the numbers are high. And we cannot just let things fade away like that. Number 18 says the findings remain the same with the previous report, which indicates that promethazine oral solution, cofexmalin baby cough syrup, Macof baby syrup, and Magrib and cold syrup were contaminated. So these are all clear. Let me move further. I'm meeting with the Association of AKI Victims, Justice for 16 Children. It is good that we have the parents of these children being organized to speak one voice. I think that should serve as a sample to this honorable house, that we should also organize our house. We should put our house in order. If outsiders who have given us the responsibility to come and represent them here are able to better organize themselves and speak with a unique voice, what about us who have been entrusted a responsibility? We are still here fooling each other. We are still here thinking the minister is the best minister. Yes, he could be the best minister, but again, he has failed us. He has been in that ministry without a proper lab for almost 5 years, without due consideration. Annually, draft budgets have been coming through here. But there was no instance where the issue of a lab is being addressed in the budget. But then, what do they always consider in their budgets are furnitures, fuel, maintenance, you name it. When us as poor people Our children are dying on a daily basis due to negligence. And we cannot actually continue on the way things are. With the victim association here, just on number 24, which makes me very sad, that I would read only. It says, they also express concern. Here, when he said they also express concern, I mean the government, through the Ministry of Health, just to be clear, about the allocation of $1 million as a condolence package to be used by the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare to visit families of the victims, and until at the time of reporting to the committee, they have not received a dime. This is according to the members of the said committee. Why, in fact, pledging $1 million when you are yet to complete your task? This shows that the government is guilty of their act, and the government should be held responsible. If I don't steal and I pay for that particular stolen material, that means, look, I have a hand in it. So if you see the government pledging $1 million to the victims, that should inform us that the government has a hand in this. And the hand they have in it is more of negligence. And they're telling us they don't care about our welfare. It means any one of us here can die anytime due to negligence, because the government does not care. All that they care is to have food on the table. Honorable Speaker, Department of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine, I want to read on this point, which is number 55 on external examination of postmortem. The Select Committee found out from the postmortem report that the livers of these children were grossly enlarged, yellowish with mottled appearance, page 21. With mottled appearance, the capsules were smooth and shining. Cut sections show mottling appearance, and both kidneys capsules stripes with ease to reveal pale subcapsular surface. Cut section of both kidney shows mark corticomedullary differentiation, severe cortical pallor, moderate congestion of the medulla, bulging of the columns of Bertin. The spleen is acutely congested, and both lungs and the heart are unremarkable. We don't have to get that scientific background in order to make our judgment. The report is very clear. Let's do justice to the victims and the Gambians as a whole. Let's do justice, and let's speak the truth, and know that we all swore to an allegiance in doing what is right, but not otherwise. But it seems some of us here, I don't know what to say, but we seems not to reflect on what actually brings us here. We're seeing the other side of the coin, which we shouldn't encourage. What caused the problem? I'm happy that it is also featured, because we want to know the root cause of AKI. And there's a committee task to go and do a finding and come back with a report that will inform this August gathering. So I read number 64, which is more of an answer. What caused the problem? I think this was obtained from West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists. This were their responses or their response to the committee. What caused the problem? Answer, one says here, it is a quality assurance failure on the part of the manufacturer. All raw materials for production on arrival in a factory are quarantined and released only when quality control certify the materials as having met the required standard. Sampling is carried out at every stage of the production process for quality control till the final product. The final product is certified again with a label indicating contents and quantities. It is obvious this was not done for the contaminated products. Yes, if we can compromise with standards or quality, we need to expect such calamity every other time, because I cannot understand people mandated to do a particular work to compromise with certain things, more especially if it comes to standard and quality. I think they're very fundamental. And no particular institution should compromise these ethics as per their duties. Number 65 says the company that imported the product from Made in India is duly registered. Documentation, that is import permit clearance and certificate of analysis on the product is in question were all submitted in accordance with the regulation. The MCA also followed their established protocol for granting the permits and release of the products. And we are still here blaming Maiden. We are still here blaming Maiden and Atlantic Pharmacy. And we don't want to blame our own government. A government that failed to provide the citizens with a functional lab that could help to examine every other medication that get into this country. But we are here blaming a company that is way far in Asia. That is in Asia. So how do we obtain certain informations from this particular company that will help to ease the process of our findings, more especially with the committee? I think their engagement should also be extended with the suppliers that is made in pharmacy. There should be a way out in reaching out to that particular company and ascertain certain things. Number 66 here said, damage could have been minimized if robust pharmacovigilance unit existed at the MCA. This is why I said, let's close this MCA. We are not yet ready. We don't have the resources. We can only leave it open if resources are directed to MCA through the Ministry of Health. Otherwise, why are we paying them salaries? Why are we providing them with office equipment? Why are we providing them with furniture? Why are we allocating operational cost to MCA when they cannot fulfill their mandates, more especially their primary mandate? MCA without a lab? What are you telling us? Let's stop the joke and do the rightful thing. Let's look at licensing of pharmacies. I think with the committee, this one will go to the committee. I would have really expected for your recommendations to actually feature the issue of licenses. Because what we understand is people who have been placed are the same people who are the referees. You become a player, you become a referee in the same field of play. People working at MCA, renting out their license in the name of partnership. Because I was keenly following with their press conferences and all that. And I think when they had an interface with the health committee, what came out from them was they are partnering with entity owners, with pharmacy owners or whatever. How can you partner? How can you be a player and a referee? How can you revoke your own license in case you are found wanting? Look, Select Committee on Health, for me, I think those licenses should be revoked and reviewed. You cannot be issuing a license and at the same time making a business out of what you are issuing. Look, health cannot be used as a business. We should be serious. We should be a serious nation if really we want to move this country forward. And to the chair of the Select Committee on Health, I think it will be of importance for you to have a general list of those pharmacy owners who hold licenses. It's important we know. That will also boost our confidence on where to go and buy medicine in case we are sick. For me personally, I stopped going to pharmacies, even at our hospitals, because I don't have trust in them. And this is a classical example. It's better we go back to our herbs, drink herbs to heal ourselves when we are sick. Medicine Control Agency, their findings, right? They said due to the quarantine, all the drugstores are full, which compromises the standard of storing drugs. And you know what? This regulation here on quarantine, the poor are suffering more. You go to our facilities today, you find no medicines. You go to our pharmacies, you find no medicines. And the pharmacy owners will tell you, Ministry of Health have asked us to quarantine our medications. So meaning, the poor one who cannot afford a private hospital might not be privileged to buy medicines for him or herself in case there is a need. The Select Committee also found out that the testing of drugs is a big challenge faced by MCA since there is no toxicology lab in the Gambia. We wouldn't have one because we are not ready to have one. Let's speak the truth. I think the president is just from spending $10 million on a tour. This is why we said, let him cut it to $5 million. The other $5 million could go to health. And we started with that capital. So we need to be a serious nation. You are raising your tag. I'm moving. I'm done with that. No, I wouldn't be observed, sir, because I mentioned the president you want to observe. It's our president.
No, the amount you mentioned is not 10 million, it's 6 million.
Okay, I'm just speaking from the allocations. Yeah, so whatever it is, I will try to kind of educate myself around that. Yeah, please, huh? With Atlantic Pharmacy, because we have a list of pharmacies here. Atlantic, it's been mentioned. And for me, no one can hold Atlantic accountable because it is clearly stated that they have gone through the right processes. Let's hold our minister and his staff accountable. Meaning they are the very people who have failed us. If they have done what was right, this would have not been the situation. The business in the parliament, in the chambers today would have been a different thing. So I wouldn't buttress much on that. Let's look at the the conclusions. It says, having received several evidence from different stakeholders, both in the public and private sector, including the parents of the victim of AKI, the Select Committee concludes that all the cases of AKI are linked to the consumption of contaminated medical products imported by Atlantic. And we are still saying here that there is no scientific proof. Fine. Maybe we need high-tech machines to come and do certain scientific tests for us. But the report is very clear. And let's stop, beating by the bush. Let's stop it and be sincere to ourselves for once. For once. No one hates the minister and the staffs. But what we expect is a better delivery or excellent delivery to the people of this nation. Nothing lower than that standard. It says, the Select Committee engaged with 2 dozens of stakeholders has generated fundamental inadequacies in our entire health sector. Okay. In our entire health sector delivery system. The findings are addressed in the recommendations. Okay, we will get there. Let's look at the recommendations, Honorable Speaker. Before I read on the recommendations, I think the Select Committee still need to go back to the drawing board and do us justice in getting us a tangible recommendation. Because with what we have here, it seems it's only maiden pharmacy that are supposed to be accountable. Not those that are issuing our licenses, not to the Ministry of Health, not MCA, but what? Maiden pharmacy in India, Asia. Look, charity begins at home. If we cannot hold each other accountable, then who can we hold accountable? Who might be outside our corridors? So for me, I think the Health Committee should be specific by telling us that the Ministry of Health should be whole responsible for the death of these 60 children. No other person. Because it is the said ministry that failed this country from not getting us an operational lab that could do the required test before selling any medicine or before having any medicine on the counter. Recommendation 1 says there is urgent need for a functional national medicine quality control lab. The Select Committee is reliably informed by the Ministry of Health that the World Bank is funding the construction of one modern lab. Yes. This is why I said earlier, we are not a serious nation. We are not. And my reasons are, it is the only country where all that we believe in is to go and beg. To beg. Can't we graduate from begging and utilize the resources that we have in this country and maximize the revenue of this country? But no, all that we do is World Bank, World Bank. World Bank cannot address all our problems, wallahi. Even our own central bank cannot address our own problems, talk less of World Bank. Look, the commitment have to start with the government. Let's direct a budget for the construction of a lab. And I think by doing so, World Bank and other international organizations could come to our aid and give us the rightful support. But not just fall in our hands. waiting for grants or loans or whatever to address our problems as a country. We might be a small nation, but again, we are not resourceless. We are not under-resourced. Our problem is the way and manner that we are managing some of these resources is seriously alarming. And the signs are coming. It says here, the government should pursue legal action against Medan, for exporting contaminated drugs to the Gambia with the Atlantic brand name. Investigation has revealed that Atlantic Pharmacy in the Gambia has followed all regulations for importing the medicines, including the batch that had contaminated syrups. To the Select Committee, with this point 6 on your recommendation, for me, I still seem to be confused, to be honest. If the government or the Ministry of Health should pursue a legal action against Medan Pharmacy, honorable members, I also want to appeal to the victims that let's launch a legal action against the Gambia government and the Ministry of Health. And if you need their support, you can count on some of us. Let's be realistic. It is the ministry and its satellite institutions that fail us first before Medan or Atlantic Pharmacy. So, to the Select Committee, I think you need to look at this point and be specific. Give us something that we can actually comprehend. It cannot just be Medan and Atlantic. What was the ministry doing? Why didn't they provide us with a lab? This is negligence. And if I were in the shoe of the victims, seriously, in the next few days, I will be before the courts to sue the Gambia government for negligence and for not providing us with what the citizens need. For the PCG to carry out its regulatory mandate effectively, it requires the establishment of a functional secretariat with an annual subvention to enhance its pre-qualifying registration, supervision, enforcement, and monitoring functions. You see, this is nature in the Gambia. We always make emphasis on the HR, on the human resource. We always want to see more money in the hands of our directors and their staffs. But we don't want to be committed in getting what we think is a need. And I think the priority here should be getting a functional lab as soon as possible. And come 2023, I think we should be able to have a functional lab. Or otherwise, the problem will still continue. All products should be subjected to screening before release into the market for distribution and use. This will ensure that what is ordered is what is delivered, to avoid what happened in the case of Atlantic Pharmacy. So, even though it is not captured in the report, it seems there is something that the committee is hiding from us. It seems what was ordered from the company and what was received are two different things. They are parallel. This is what has been said in the report. If only I didn't digest the statement as written. But this is in black and white. Even a layman could understand it in the way I understand it. So, as I said, I think the government, more especially through this August Assembly, we should look at things in a diverse approach. We are not here to witch hunt. We are not here to sabotage. We are not here to praise sing. We are here to judiciously act as expected, but not otherwise. And this seems to be the exact situation. And until we graduate from that, honestly, this country isn't moving. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to take my seat.
Thank you, Member for Janjambure. I now give the floor to the member for Combo East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I must commend the Committee for Health, Select Committee for Health, for coming up with this report. But having gone through it, it has given me a conclusion that the recommendations are yet to be fully matured, exhaust the constant attitude that some of our suppliers are habitually doing. This thing is becoming a clear subject that Gambians are vulnerable. Gambians are vulnerable in the hands of importers. Gambians are vulnerable in the hands of those that are holding on to their daily lives. I could go through as I have gone through the recommendations of the committee, I have seen it to be one-sided. And this thing, we need to draw the curtain to make sure that Gambians are secured fully, by way of holding all the culprits, the stakeholders within this process, to answer to this call that sanctions must be on all of them, irrespective of who you are or what have you. It is very disappointing and very regrettable for a business to cost the lives of 70 children. And also, looking into the health sector now, the pharmaceutical business is becoming a very lucrative business, a profit-making avenue for people. Now quality is not considered. They are trying to look into maximize profit. To me, I've seen this thing to be a deceive, not only on the Gambian people, but even on the government of the Gambia. If WHO is to condemn herbalists from publishing or selling or distributing herbal drugs of not being clinically recommended, why would it be possible a toxic clinical pharmaceutical product to be imported all the way from India into Gambia for consumption? The WHO also have a hand in this, because they are there to be blamed. They patented, they have given these people the license of them being international producers of these pharmaceutical products. Now, I was expecting a further recommendation from the Health Committee. This is why, upon the day that we were recommending for these investigations to be taxed, I recommended for a joint committee, because I know they are checking things on a specialized part, but this has some more implications and more harm that is yet to be admitted to. That is, how comes this? I could see a conspiracy in this business. And in exhausting this conspiracy, the relevant committees must put their hands in it to exhaust it. Because, yes, your investigations has given it that they have gotten their legal, they have used the legal processes to get in these products. But the legalities of this, the legal documentation and the legal entities of this is where conspiracy comes. They can use that legal license, legal entrance, by conspiring to bring in products that are not usable. So, meaning Gambia is a dumping point where businesses can get in anything that Gambians can use. It is painful. It is an insult to all of us. I would suggest this Honorable House to further recommend to the committee to get back to this report and then get stiffer recommendations that the Honorable House will be holding on to make sure that this thing would never repeat. Who knows? The diseases that we are crying for could be as a result of same in the pharmaceutical business. Because we are seeing businesses are not respecting quality. They are trying to maximize their profit over people. And Gambians are seeming to be vulnerable. And this is unacceptable. We would not allow this thing happen here. We will make sure the National Assembly, I would urge my colleague National Assembly members to look at these things holistically and make sure we protect our Gambians. If you want to do business in Gambia, you must do a legitimate business. If you want to make profit, we have no problem about that. But then you have to get us quality, and you must work diligently to make sure that you serve us to the best of your ability in making sure that standards are being put in the Gambia. It is only Gambia that you come across drugs that are not even usable. You see them in markets and pharmacies, and they are going. And I think with this lack of resources, they are using this as an advantage to smuggle in unusable drugs to toxicate our Gambian people. Yes, it is an early warning that the ministry was able to detect this thing earlier. But who knows what is wrong with Gambians that are suffering from vascular diseases? Who knows the drugs that we are taking, the painkillers that we are taking? And I think I would suggest the whole drugs that are imported in the Gambia be put on quarantine, because it is risky. These things we are taking, we are just trying to sideline these drugs by having detected the causes. But then there are many more. To my own suggestion, I expect many more drugs are hidden in the pharmacies and people are consuming them and they are causing lives. You see, businessmen must fear God. The outside world, we have no control over it, but our territory is our territory, and we will make sure that we walk hand in glove, irrespective of where you come from. As long as you are a Gambian representing people in this house, I think the interest of Gambians is paramount and is number one in us. We will make sure that these reports are followed and then the steps are taken. And I would urge my honorable members to make sure that we take this thing holistically. Losing 70 lives for business is unacceptable. Using the Gambian legal documents to trade illegally is wrong. To me, I expect there are many more to be undetected, but this is wrong and is unacceptable, and we will make sure we walk over it. And I am suggesting to the Honorable House to look into this report and recommendation holistically. To me, it is not a full report that we need to give recommendations and agree on to. We still need some further recommendations, and this thing need to be brought back to the House for us to digest and get back to this thing and reassign the committee to get into other recommendations that we would do, because it is painful. Holding Median pharmaceutical company, which is alien, out of our jurisdictions could be secondary, but we need to hold this primary cause, the main importance of this product, into our own country. Irrespective of what legalities have you taken through to get these things in, the causes of those lives are your responsibility. And I suggest this thing to be held holistically and members to look into these things. We are not here to favor people. We are here to save and protect the integrity of our own country as Gambians. It is an insult to have such a thing pass on the clouds. Who are we? Who shall we be then? We love our country, we love our people, and we respect the lives of our people. A single life is worthy to this National Assembly. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I take my seat. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Member for Combo East. Honorable members, I think this is a convenient time for us to suspend for lunch break and other issues, I propose that we reconvene at 3:15. Will come again?
Yeah, before we go on break, can you confirm the speakers left on your list, please?
Honorable, yes. Oh, okay.
Yes, can you?
Yes, so we will break off for lunch and reconvene at 3:15.
We asked a question.
Yeah, and I also suggest that all the officials and stakeholders should be here by 3:15. The House is suspended.
How's the program?